Hey everybody, my name is Taylor Glenn and this is my channel Taylor Tries, where I try new things and I try to teach you new things. And today I'm going to teach you how to do the first tricks you should learn with clubs after you can juggle the 3-club cascade. The tricks we're going to learn are a double spin, continuous doubles, and a flash with doubles. Let's do it. Before I jump into it, I want to take a second and thank all the members of my Otter Club over on Patreon. It's because of people like you that I can make these free tutorials for everyone else, and I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. As a member of the Otter Club, you get a lot of exclusive benefits that will help you learn and improve your juggling, one of which is an extended version of many of my tutorials, including this one. In the extended version of this tutorial, I'll be teaching you a fun, stylish ending that you can do with 3 clubs to wow your friends or just look cool by yourself. If you want access to that, it's only $2 and there's a link in the description. And for $5 members of my Patreon, you get access to my entire slow motion catalog full of slow motion tricks. All right, let's start learning some spins. That was a bad example. All right, so all of our tricks today are focusing on spins. When you learned 3 clubs, you most likely learned it with a single spin. When the club only rotates once and you catch it after that rotation, that is called a single spin or simply singles. So you could refer to this as a 3-club cascade in singles. Now, after we feel comfortable with that single spin 3-club cascade, we can start incorporating double spins where the club is rotating twice before we catch it again. Double spins are a great way to improve your coordination and your abilities as a club juggler, but they also serve as the foundation of a lot of tricks that you'll do with clubs later on, like 4-2-3 variations and eventually 5 clubs. So it's essential that you start working on those double spins now, and honestly, they're the easiest tricks you can do with clubs. So let's start on the first one. The first one we're gonna learn is simply just throwing one double. Now I want you to start that with 1 club. Just like we did when we were learning the 3-club cascade, we wanna get used to the spin of the club, but now we're gonna be doing it with doubles. So take a second and just throw a double spin. Now this brings up an interesting question. How do you even control the spin of a club? When I throw it like this, it naturally wants to spin once. That's true, that's why this is the default pattern. But in order to get it to spin more times, you have to do a couple different things. You can increase the height, which will naturally create more spin because there's more time for the club to rotate. And you can also increase your wrist momentum. By flicking the club more, it's going to make it spin faster. So when we're throwing a double spin, we probably want to have a combination of those 2 things. We want to be using a little more wrist than we normally would, and we want to be using a little more bicep to create slightly more height. So you can keep those 2 factors in mind when you're working on it with 1 club. You can throw a double spin lower and very quickly, but it's not usually done that way, and it's a lot harder, honestly. So for this trick, this exercise, I encourage you to try to do a double spin pretty high. If you find that when you're doing your throw, the club is not spinning enough and you're catching it by the bulb, then you either have to increase your height so that it spins a little more, or you need to put more spin in intentionally with your wrist. If you find that the club is overspinning and you're catching it by the bulb after 2.5 spins, that again means you're either throwing too high or you're putting too much spin on the throw. So you either have to throw lower or put a little bit less wrist into that throw. So play around with those 2 things and see which one of them is causing your problem. Once you can do that pretty well with 1 club back and forth with both hands, then we can pick up some more clubs and start juggling. All right, the sun came out, so I had to move. Let's work on 3. So by now you should be fairly comfortable throwing a double spin with 1 club. Now we can try to do it into a pattern with our first trick, which is doing just 1 double spin out of a cascade. So we're gonna start by doing our 3-club cascade. And then from here, I just want you to pick 1 hand that you feel most comfortable with, and we're gonna throw a double. And then come back into a regular cascade. Just throw 1 and then go back into a cascade. Then when you feel ready, try throwing another one and go back into a cascade. I recommend that you do this with both hands, just randomly getting a feel for throwing a double out of that 3-club cascade. Then we can start making it more of an intentional rhythm. I think the simplest rhythm for incorporating that double is to do it every 3 throws. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So we're still doing our normal cascade, it's just that every 3 throws we will be doing a double spin. It's important to note that when you're doing that double, you don't want to immediately be throwing the next club. You want to wait a second for that club to come down before you throw the next club. So what you don't want to do is this, because the clubs are going to come down at the same time. You want to throw the double, then wait for it to come down before you throw that next hand. I think this is the simplest trick that you can work on with 3 clubs, and I highly recommend that you spend a lot of time working on it. The next trick we're learning, again, is focused on those double spins, and it's really simple to understand. Before we were throwing the double spin every 3 throws, but this time we're going to be throwing doubles every single time. So we're basically throwing a 3 club cascade, but at a higher height with doubles. I personally find it easiest to start with our normal cascade that we do in single spins, and then go into those double spins. And if you need to, you can always go immediately back to doing those single spins that you're more comfortable with. Then once you feel good with it, go back into trying double spins every time, and then come back to singles. Eventually, with practice, you'll be able to throw double spins continuously without any effort at all. And that is your second trick with 3 clubs. All right, look at us just getting all these double spin tricks down. This is awesome. Next, we're gonna be using those double spins again, but we're gonna make it a little bit harder, a little faster. This trick is what we often call a flash. Now, it's a little different than when we use the term flash to describe just successfully throwing 3 objects, for example. In this instance, when we're using the word flash, it means that we're throwing the objects really high, all in a row, and then there's a slight pause. That is also called a flash. I know it's confusing that the terms are the same as something else, but it's okay. So in this particular trick, we're gonna be throwing 3 doubles all in a row. There's just a split moment where our hands are empty and the clubs are going to come back down. I find the easiest way to start learning this trick is to go from the 3 club cascade again, and we're just gonna start with 3 doubles really quickly in a row. 1, 2, 3. And then come right back to the 3 club cascade with singles. Now, that fast timing can be kind of difficult to get, and it can often result in overspun doubles or underspun doubles. So again, this is a really good trick to really hone in your double spins and make sure that they are solid. Because you're throwing so quickly, it's easy for things to go wrong. So make sure you work on those first 2 tricks with doubles first, and then when you feel comfortable with them, you can start trying to do this 3 club flash. If you want to take it a step further and make it even harder, you can actually do it continuously. So we're throwing 3 club flashes over and over again. If you want to start learning how to do it continuously like that, you need to make sure that you practice starting that first throw with alternating hands. Because when we do a continuous flash like that, we're going right, left, right, left. So we're having to start that flash with our left hand the second time it comes around. So if you're wanting to learn how to do that, start with your single spins and try starting that 1, 2, 3, just like before, but start it with your left hand. 1, 2, 3. That can be really hard to do if you're not as familiar with doubles yet. And that is how you do a 3 club flash with double spins. Another awesome trick for you to work on with clubs. So there you have it. Those are the tricks, in my opinion, that are the most essential tricks you should work on once you learn how to do the 3 club cascade, focusing on those doubles that are essential for learning how to do more tricks with clubs. I know these spins can be kind of hard and difficult, but just incorporate them into your 3 club cascade practice and start trying to get them down now, because eventually you'll need them for those other tricks in the future. But most importantly, remember to have fun and take your time. Now, if you want access to my extended tutorial exclusively for members of my Patreon, in that tutorial I also teach you how to do a fun ending that you can do to impress people. And I also honestly find it an easier way to collect 3 clubs than the typical collecting 2 in one hand. So if you want access to that, you can get immediate access right now. It's only $2, and there's a link in the description. That's it, and I'll see you next time. Oh, they're all dirty now. So play around with those 2 variables, blah. And today, ow, yeah.